I'm on my quick morning mental. Not going to be long before you. While we were sleeping, some things happened that I need to address. So I thought I'd do that upon returning to this body. And now that I'm back in this realm, I bid you all a grand rising. People say, well, why do you say grand rising? Why don't you say good morning? We say grand rising because you have returned to the container of your soul. And now you're going to rise in the kingdom again and do great things. When someone dies, we say that we're mourning their loss. So a good morning would mean we're saying good, remembering someone who died. If I can just say a little something without trying to teach. Your soul can only stay in this body for so long before the body becomes toxic. So the soul has to depart from the body so that your body can recharge. That is why you sleep. They don't teach you that in school because they want to control your body because they cannot control your soul. So we say grand rising when your soul returns to your body. We don't mourn you, even though you die nightly. So I bid you all a grand rising this morning. I'm not going to stay on long, but there's something that's happening that we have to address. First, if you have friends who want to catch my lives, Instagram is shadow banning me. If you don't know what shadow banning means, that's probably being done to you too. Shadow banning means that when you go live, nobody gets notified. So if you have a friend that says, I never get notified anymore, that's because they're shadow banning me. So let's take a few minutes to reach out to some of your friends and say, hey, he's on again, because they're shadow banning us. I'm going to wait. I just have something that I need to tell you before you start this day so you're not misled. There are a lot of weapons at work right now, people. And one of those weapons is the internet. So they will use the internet to try to misinform you. They call it fake news. They'll use the internet to stir up your feelings. In the same way that there are cowards and traitors and sneaky people in the real world, there are such people like that on the internet. Y'all got to remember the internet gave rise to the keyboard coward. People who will say things that they'll never say to your face. Oh, they'll come on the internet and they think you can't see them. You don't know who they are. So they'll say crazy stuff, things they would never, ever have the courage or the fortitude or the backbone or the health insurance to say to your face. The internet gave rise to that. Again, I'm being shadow banned, which means they're blocking my notifications to let folks know that we're live this morning. If you have a friend that's complaining that I haven't been able to get his lives lately, then please go and let them know that he's on the air again. I bid you all a grand rising in the name of the Most High. If we cannot agree on anything else, we can all agree that we are all children of Yahweh, Yahuwah. And then there are those who just here to spectate. That's cool too, because what I have to say applies to you too. First, let me speak to the clown squad. Look here, clown squad. If you haven't figured out by now that I'm very intelligent, as a matter of fact, I'm not average intelligent. I'm above average intelligent, and that's been documented. Please Stop trying to play these caveman, first grade, elementary school tactics against me. They don't work. You can't come around me and say certain things like I'm stupid. You cannot say certain things to me like I haven't already thought it out. I'm always thinking. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking. So you're not telling me anything that I haven't already thought about. You're not bringing anything to my attention that Yahweh hasn't already put in my ear. And I don't respond out of raw emotion. When you are emotional, you make dumb decisions. How many times in your life have you done something based on emotion that you spent the rest of your life sitting around saying, if I only had done such and such and such? So, y'all stop it. Stop with the where you gonna be and what you gonna do. And y'all stop that. And stop trying to ask me stupid questions publicly as if I'm dumb enough to answer them. Please, you're embarrassing yourself. Go back to who sent you. Go back to your commander. And you tell him the next time that he wants to try me, come himself. You see, a lot of y'all will sit on the internet and you'll listen to me and you'll form some kind of opinion. But if I show up, all of a sudden your demeanor is different. If I show up, all of a sudden you didn't say that. If I show up, there's no need for all the violence. If I show up, it's not worth killing you over. If I show up, some of y'all would think that you're prepared for what's coming, and then you find out you're not. So stop it. Please stop it. I may be anointed on one end, but on the other end, I'm a goddamn psychopath. And I would love to do nothing but to unleash the full vent of all my fury on you. But because I'm a child of the Creator, see, I have brakes. I have brakes everywhere, and they work. So you cannot trigger me. I don't care about who gets the credit for certain things as long as they get done. I don't want my name to go down in history as this or that. I just want to see results. So stop asking me questions publicly that I'm just not going to answer, and stop making up things because they don't work. And understand, just like when you spell a word, you're casting a spell. There is power in words. So be careful what spells you put into the air, because you just might summon the spirit of Odin. And he loves to get inside of us and show up, show out. Now that we done got that out the way, to all of the folks who tuned in to see thus what have I to say this morning. So my phone started ringing in the middle of the night. And again, like I said, grand rising to all of you. But we got to clear up something real quick before we start this day. So we're about to go to the shooting range, and we're about to go to him, and I'm going to show you guys sometime today what a tight shot group is. Today, I'm going to actually show you just how well I can shoot. But that's later. Y'all stay tuned for that. But there is a video. Again, you know, that's one thing we do is we clear up the bullshit. There is a grand rising to you. There is a video that you're going to see that's already floating around. It's on Facebook. It's going to be here on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's going to pop up on Twitter. And if you've seen it, it appears to show people storming the White House. They're on the lawn. They're throwing fire. They're breaking windows. And people, there's a headline. They stormed the White House, and it's never happened before in U.S. history. And then you'll see, you know, people saying, oh, they're going to try to cover it up. You know, it's like there's going to be a media blackout. And I've already seen a few people people I respect, have already reposted this video as if, look, Again, I've already taught you all, you're not journalists. You have not been trained in investigative journalism. So sometimes you respond out of emotion. And one of those emotions is the desire to be first. You want to be first to get the story out. Well, I have to pause. That's a new one. Grand Risings from the Mama. Okay. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the show from that part of the world. But they've got this video going around. And when you look at the video, oh, it looks realistic. That's what people are saying. Oh, I seen it, Jay. It looks realistic. Again, I just woke up, so this is my morning face, so y'all forgive me. I hope when you wake up in the morning, you look like you did when you went to sleep. But this video was going around, and a lot of people said that they stormed the White House. Now, of course, if you don't know that little bit about the White House, if you don't know that little bit about the Capitol, if you don't know that little bit about all of the federal buildings in Washington, D.C., if you've never served in the military or even been at what we call the Old Guard, which is across the river, across the Potomac at Fort Myers, which is specifically there, it's an Army base that's there for the White House. If you know nothing about Andrews Air Force Base, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from the White House, which is specifically there to protect Washington. Anybody remember 9/11? If you know nothing about the Capitol Police, the secret police, if you know nothing about the Secret Service, if you know nothing about the presidential intrusion team, if you know nothing about those things, if you know nothing about those things, then it's easy for you to believe that a bunch of people scaled the gate of the White House, ran around on the ground, throwing Molotov cocktails and busting windows. And if you believe that, you have been made a fool out of if you fall for that. Without going into too much detail, just let me say that if there was a breach of the White House to the point where they lost control, that things would happen in layers, okay? There is a movie called Olympus Has Fallen. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember Olympus Has Fallen? If you've never seen it, you should go get it. It's on Netflix. It's a fictitious story about what happens when North Korea launches an attack on the White House under the guise of a peace mission. And they come with all this heavy artillery and this big shootout on the lawn. And what was unrealistic about it was the response that the White House had. The White House, they just came out with machine guns. But the guys that hit the White House, y'all remember they came out with trash trucks that had these big hellfire cannons on it and these rapid fire machine guns, and they killed everybody. Then they had a C-130 that flew right down where the Washington Monument was. Remember, and it shot up all of downtown D.C., and then it crashed into the White House. So y'all ate that shit up because that's Hollywood. I'm going to tell y'all something that you need to think about. First, that video is fake. No, it's not that it's not what you're watching is fake. It's fake because of what they said it is. It is not the White House. What you're looking at is video from last week in Columbus, Ohio, at the State House when they rioted. And they actually did get on the grounds of the State House in Ohio. And they busted out a few windows and clowned out. And then, of course, the mop-up crew came and put an end to all of that because they were not armed. No, if they had attacked the White House, like what you see in that video, they would have killed every last one of them. You see, a lot of y'all don't notice, but there are systems built into the White House. They did a modernization project on the White House not too long ago. Matter of fact, they did it under the Obama administration. We're talking about weapons that you cannot even begin to imagine that would obliterate everybody on the lawn. Secondly, they would then take that as a terrorist attack against the United States, and we would enter into a de facto state of war. Then trust and believe nobody would be going anywhere because they wouldn't know who did it. You would wake up this morning with armed guards in the street saying, if you come out your house, you're going to get killed. The United States, if you believe that some people just because they're protesting for what they're protesting, are that strong and equipped enough that the United States government would allow them. Yeah, they put the president in the bunker because he a punk, because people outside protesting, but they don't put him in the bunker because y'all are coming. They put him in the bunker because they're going to kill everybody. It's going to be fire, explosion, and smoke. And they don't want nothing to happen to him. Plus, the government got to keep running. So please do your research before you post. Please do your research, because some things are too good to be true. Because think about it. Storming the White House or the Capitol is what we would call a coup d'etat. That would mean an overthrow of the government. And to overthrow the government, you have to be able to overthrow their military too. So throwing some windows through the White House, when the commander-in-chief is inside, who commands the military, that is the one time that he's authorized to unleash the full power of the military on civilians and slaughter all of them. There would be nobody to talk about it. It would be horrible. There wouldn't have to be the need for a blackout. So that video is going around. I know y'all done seen it. I know y'all like it. You wish that would happen. You wish, but keep on wishing, because to attack the White House would require a tactical operation. It would require hardware bigger than pistols, paints, and Molotov cocktails. It would also take the involvement of a few military folks who have, let's say, the Joint Chiefs who defected from the government. You see, coups happen when the military splits and decides to attack the leader, but our military has not made the decision yet to attack anyone. So I had to come on this morning, because you're going to see it this morning. And no, they did not attack the White House. They attacked the State House in Columbus, Ohio last week. But just to make my point, somebody would say, well, why would they make a video like that? Because you all watch these videos just like you watch the news. And even though we all know that the news is lying like a mug to you, they're lying. We know they're lying. A lot of y'all don't double check what you see on here, which is why I do facts over feelings, to try to separate the bullshit from the facts. I'm sorry I had to put a pin in your balloon this morning. I really am. But I just could not let that one go, because I'm pretty sure someone is going to, and they already started sending me messages in my inbox. So this is where y'all should be at. Let me say this one more time before I go, because I know y'all got better things to do. Number one, this channel is being shadow banned, which means you're not going to get the notifications. So you're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on. Number two, the video this morning purporting to show the White House being attacked is fake. Some people just want to get a rise out of you. Some of y'all just want to post something so badly, you'll post it and you'll put all your credibility on the line, because then we have to come back and tell you, I can't believe you posted that. Join me later on today. We're going to the shooting range to shoot up some shit, you know. You see, practice makes perfect. And even though, you know, anybody can pick up a gun and walk around with it, it's another thing to go and practice with it and make it an extension of your arm. Today, I'm going to teach you about what we call the shot group. You see, in the military, we're trained to put 3 bullets at an extremely long range into a hole this big. If you can get 3 bullets in a hole this big from a long distance, you can just about kill anybody. It's basic rifle marksmanship. If you found your way over to the website and you're participating in the forums, please understand that we're going to let you say what you want to say. We're not going to moderate it. We see it. We're just not going to stop it. It's freedom of speech over there. If you haven't been over to blackandfact.com, please stop by. If you're wondering about the recruitment tour, as they're calling it now, again, guarded information, not going to tell you nothing publicly. Just when you hear that we're coming your way, please come out if you want to join so you can become a part. And don't be afraid to do your own thing. Don't be afraid to go out there and get your folks together and say we're gonna patrol our own neighborhood. We're gonna police our own police. We're gonna okay. You don't have to be dependent on someone else when you are really a warrior race. That's all. Didn't come to get on your case this morning. I didn't come, but I had to come to slow that train down because I'm seeing that video pop up everywhere. Y'all please stop that. Let them know that's fake. It's not the White House. Matter of fact, think about it. I want y'all to do some thinking. If someone got to the White House, well, let me rephrase that. Think about when Obama was in office. If someone scaled the fence to the White House, did you see the response? I think earlier in his presidency, when Trump got into office, a couple of people did scale the White House fence, and you saw what happened to them. They were killed. There's a couple of incidents where people were shot and killed. One guy even tried to drive away, and they chased him down in D.C. They murdered him. So for you to believe that all of those people that work security around the White House let people get onto the grounds, where do you think they went? Would you think they ran away? Anyone who's ever visited the White House, took a trip to D.C., you know that when you walk up to the White House, you see the little guard houses and you see the guys with the police and machine guns sitting around. They're not there for decorations. They there in case one of y'all decide to flip and act a fool. So protest or no protest, you ain't going over the fence. You're gonna throw Molotov cocktails and break the windows at the White House. Suicide. That would be a suicide move, and nobody has that type of ability right now. Not Antifa, not BLM. BLM doesn't even have any tactical ability whatsoever. I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Look, like I said, I support anyone who's trying to get us to the ultimate goal. But y'all running around giving blanket credit to the wrong people. They're doing it to you again. You see, they're labeling every protest. They're labeling every uprising as Black Lives Matter, when a lot of us have already said we're not Black Lives Matter and we don't rock with them. Yet the press is calling everything a BLM protest. That's a control mechanism. You see, that way, when they decide to say, when the history records that there was a great uprising in America, they'll try to say that the same people that they already are in bed with were the ones that made it happen. The truth of the matter is, some of us really don't give a shit about who gets the credit, because the end result is going to be the end result. So y'all stop running around falling for all these fake ass narratives, because if they try to say that all of those protests and that all of the uprisings and everything that happened was because of BLM, then you're going to see history written falsely. You're going to see them being given credit for stuff that they don't have the backbone to do. And I can say that. They're not that type of an organization. They're not a bunch of killers. They protest. They raise awareness for them and their kind. So please, y'all stop running around hashtagging me with BLM, please. Stop hashtagging NFAC with BLM, please. We're Malcolm. They're Martin. So people want to control what you think, so they do it because they know you'll react emotionally. And a lot of y'all are reacting emotionally right now. Whereas we're thinkers. We're thinking things through. Some of y'all don't know patience. Some of y'all don't know chess. You really should learn how to play chess. A young lady told me last night in a letter, she says, you appear to be upset with us because we're angry. No, as a matter of fact, I'm not upset at all because you're angry. I want you to be angry. We have to learn to channel our anger. You have to learn to focus it. Same anger, but focus it. The same way when you learn to take self-defense courses to get you to beat up somebody or to beat up that dummy correctly, will tell you to focus your energy and just put all your effort into one organized shot. It's a fake video going around. It's a lot of fake things happening out here. There's a lot of fake people taking credit for other people's moves. There's a lot of people out here who know that if things really happen, they will have no control. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come out in the end. Because when the violence really starts, and y'all need to stop begging for this to happen. Let me entertain this for 2 seconds. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to entertain this for 2 seconds. All right. Let's just hypothetically say that a squadron or a platoon or an entire company, which would be somewhere around about 120 people, armed, were to invade a major metropolitan city with all of this protesting going on. By now, y'all can see that the police are not what you thought they were. By now, you can see that white militant supremacists are out in the streets looking for something to happen. And let's just say, hypothetically, 120 NFAC members showed up strapped to the 9. You really believe that a firefight wouldn't happen? Yes, it would. Someone would fire the first shot and then there'll be this big firefight. And it would probably last for a little while. A lot of people would get killed. But when it's over, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either A, everybody in this country would find out that white people would attack you. Yes, they would. They would attack you. And y'all don't understand what that means. It's called backlash. It's called a backlash against you. And here's the sad part about it. The backlash would be against a bunch of people who would be unarmed. The backlash would be against a bunch of children that are not prepared. The backlash would be bloody and it would be violent. And the backlash is something you're not trained for, equipped for, nor planned for. Additionally, if the backlash doesn't get you, then what happens next is the alternative, is that a civil war starts. And now it's us shooting it out with them everywhere. Even if you are prepared, a lot of y'all will become casualties. So because you see somebody like a group like us training and getting ourselves together and not being out there in all the confusion, see, we know what our presence is going to do. We know what it's going to do, but we would end up starting something that you are not yet prepared to respond to. If we're the beginning of it, you have to be the continuation. And we don't mean being in the street with your hands and your fists throwing Molotov cocktails. We're talking about straight out war in the streets of America. We're talking about urban combat. We're talking about fighting out in the middle of nowhere. We're talking about being in the woods. We're talking about coming from the air. Do you have a way to fight from the air? Do you? Have any of you all learned how to control drones where you can put explosives on them? No. Do you own aircraft, an airplane, a chopper? Last time I was in the projects, I didn't see no runways. Do you have unlimited sources of ammunition to keep the fight going? Do you have your own medical facilities to patch up your wounded and get them back in the fight? Do you have do you have these things? Because if you don't, you're gonna start some shit with some people that do. So before you keep begging and wishing for us to come out to a hot spot where they know that they can engage us and start a firefight that will get people killed, including us or anybody else, can think about what comes after that. You see, those people in Brunswick still got to live there. And if they have organized themselves and they're ready for whatever, that's beautiful. But if you know your own people, some of y'all scary. Some of y'all, yeah, you know, like somebody just said, strap up. But don't just strap up, train up. You got to train up. And I'm glad to see so many people are honest and say, Jay, I can buy a weapon, but I need somebody to train me. Or, Jay, we know that. So we're training and we're not showing our hand. You all should be training and not showing everybody your hand. Last but not least, I want to address something I saw on YouTube the other day. And it really sickens me because I love my women. I love my sisters. I know y'all all not perfect, but I don't care. I love my sisters. I'll never cross that line because that's what Yahweh made for me. I love my bros, but there's one particular type of brother I can't stand. I can't stand a coward. I can't stand a coward. I can't stand a person who becomes afraid to do something when things need to get done. I can't stand for somebody who always want to say what somebody else should do, but they ain't doing nothing. I can't stand people who are comfortable being bystanders, comfortable in it. I can't stand people who got a whole lot of mouth, but quick to break south. I can't stand that. And what I really can't stand is what I call bitch-made niggas. And a bitch-made nigga is a black man who not only is a coward, but will sit there and try to convince other people not to do anything and then make up some shit that they have no proof of. So, because they don't want to have to say, they don't want to have to stand out when everybody else is jumping out the window to go fight and they still standing there with their punk ass. And I'm calling you out. So I heard some brother say, he says, there's no way they're doing all of this. Them alphabet boys ain't watching them. They must be agents. They always throw that agent shit at you. You've been watching too much fucking TV. There's nothing that we do or that you see that is illegal, that you can't do yourself under the Constitution that you live under. The only difference is we're not scared. Can somebody get Bone Crusher on the phone for me? We need to bring back I Ain't Never Scared. You understand what I'm saying? Can somebody get Scrappy for me? We need to put some crunk in the system. Okay? Can somebody please get Lil John on the phone? Because right now they acting like a bunch of biatch. No. Stop running around making up shit because you're afraid. Ooh, they must be them alphabet boys. You see, that shows how stupid you are. That you would think that people are just as dumb as you, that they would do illegal shit. See, that's what happens when you don't know the law. That's what happens when you've never studied your own constitution. That's why when the police pull up, you go along like a good little slave. That's why when they come knocking on your door and tell you that you can't have a passport because you ain't paid your child support. See, I didn't know that. See, you keep thinking that ignorance of the law is an excuse, but nobody likes a dummy. I learned that in school. Nobody likes a dumb motherfucker. I can't stand a stupid man. I can't stand a weak man. And I damn sure can't stand a combination of the both. You know, we had a name for that in combat. They died of friendly fire. Your mama get a flag and a check because that's better than what she had. So don't sit around and make side ass comments about what the fuck we are or what we have or haven't done when you haven't done shit. Oh, you went out in the street and walked around. Or you went out in the street and you chanted and raised your fist and shit. You got knocked upset by the police and I did all of that. I've done all that shit and then some. But I understand the difference between voicing my opinion and putting in real work. Now, you can believe what you want to believe, people. And this goes for anybody on Instagram. A lot of my fans over on YouTube, I call them fans. A lot of the fans over on YouTube that made their way over here thinking that this was just another something to do. And anybody else, Facebook, all these other social media platforms. Stop talking. You don't know what you're talking about. Yet when we do show up, you're going to be the first motherfucker behind us talking about, yeah, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. This is not a game. This is life. and we're the chess pieces. And right now we're being played. And a lot of y'all don't even know what you are on the board. And for those of y'all who've never played chess before, and y'all wonder why I love my sisters so much, because see, in chess, anybody can be a pawn, and pawns ain't got a whole lot of power. They can only go forward and backwards. They do have one special ability. I'll tell you about that when I get to the end of this, because I'm about to go. But some of y'all are like the rook. You can take out anything in front of you, behind you, to the right and to the left. You can't take out nothing that's at an angle, but you can take out what's, in front of you, behind you, to the right and to the left. Some of y'all are like the bishop. You can move at angles only. You can't take out nothing in front of you. You can't take out nothing behind you. But if we need somebody to go at an angle, if we need somebody who got a particular angle to them, you can do that. And then some of y'all are like the knights. You don't move in a straight line. You move in these strange L shapes because you don't take no L's. You take with a L, if you know anything about chess. And if somebody's not thinking, they can take you out because you were looking for a frontal attack. You were looking for a rear attack. You were looking for an angle attack, but you didn't see this brother coming up and around the corner. You didn't see that. And then most importantly, we have the king. Now the king is an object to the whole game. That would be me, the black man. You see, once the king is captured, once the king is taken, the game is over. But the king has something that is more powerful than anything on the board. And that's the queen. You see, the queen can go anywhere, in any direction, up, down, sideways, loop-de-loop. The queen is the most powerful piece on the board. And if you smart in chess, you protect the queen at all costs. And the queen you send out when you about to make your master play, after you sent in the pawns, after you sent in the rook, after you move the bishop, now the queen come through, and the queen's job is to take out the other queen or trap the king in such a way that he can never get away. So if we're not protecting our sisters, if we're not making sure that the queen is empowered to take out the other queen, notice I said take out the other queen and trap the king. The problem is a lot of our queens are actually hooking up with the other king. A lot of our queens are marching with the other queens. A lot of our queens are doing ass backward shit and leaving the king unexposed, and everybody around him has no game plan. And y'all don't seem to realize how that works. I played chess when I was a child. I was so good at it. We used to be able to end the game in 3 moves. You ever seen that? Where somebody be like 1, 2, 3, checkmate, playing for money. But for most of us who play chess by the clock, it takes a long time because the person that's sitting in front of you has 8 moves in their head. And they've already said, if I do this, they're going to do this. Well, if I do this and they do this, I'm going to do this. Well, if I do this and they do this and I do this, then they're going to do this and I'm going to do this. That's how chess works. This is a game of chess. Black man, and you ever wonder why they're black and white? You ever wonder why on the chessboard they're black and white? And if you notice, if you ever play chess, they like to take the pawn to decide who goes first. And the pawn has another function. Remember, he's just a pawn. Many of you are just pawns, but the pawn is the only piece on the board that if you can get them all the way into the enemy's territory, and get all the way to the end of their kingdom, you can get your queen back. The pawn sacrifices himself for the queen. So while all hell is breaking loose on the right side of the board, while all hell is breaking loose on the left side of the board, while you got your king guarded, and you got your rooks and your bishops and all of them out doing battle in the street, the king is watching the battle go down. And while no one, and the queen got captured. And when the queen gets captured, most people say this game gonna be over quick. But ain't nobody paying attention to the pawn that's sneaking down the side. Nobody paid attention that every time a big battle went down, they moved the pawn forward. And all of a sudden, your opponent, who looks like they're beaten, you done took all of their stuff. Watch this. You done took their rook. You done took their bishop. You done took their knights. He ain't got nothing left but 3 pawns and the king. Y'all said, we got him. We got him. Nobody was paying attention when all of a sudden you said, give me my queen back. And they're like, oh, I didn't see that. And then the queen steps on the board. And the shit is like a massacre because every move she makes, shit disappears. One move, all the bishops gone. Next move, took out the rook, took out the knight. Next move, cleaned out all of the pawns. And all of a sudden you realize you ain't got shit but your king left. And you're facing the black queen. And the king is back there like, go ahead, get that bitch. And checkmate. Because if the queen gets too close to the king can't get away. Remember, the king can either go forward or backwards or left or right or at an angle. But you can't do any of that in the presence of the king. Of the queen, because she's going to get you. You cannot get away from her. She is the most powerful piece on the board. End of game. Checkmate. And right now, they think that they got y'all where they want y'all. They think they got the queen. They got some of them, but I know it's a lot of queens on here this morning talking about they ain't got me. I'm about that life. Let's get it. And a lot of you all are pawns who have the ability to rescue the queen. We can bring her back in case they get her. But the rest of you all are rooks, bishops, and knights. And we all move different, but we're all moving toward the same goal. To win the game, we have to capture their king. To win the game, we have to take out their queen. To win the game, we have to capture or kill all of their knights, all of their rooks, and all of their bishops. And right now, you all are way down the board and you're coming in contact. See all them cops that y'all out in the street fighting? Those are the pawns. You're fighting their pawns. And then when you get in a little closer, the next thing you're going to fight is the military, because that would be the specialties. That would be, those are the rooks and the bishops. You get what I'm saying? And then when you get real close, you're going to come face to face with their queen, who's going to display all her power. Look, y'all stop acting like white women are these weak, defenseless lily of the fields. In slavery, they were the other half of the slave owners. Yes, white women were slave owners too. They weren't these darling littles up in the room. Y'all keep forgetting. They was in on the heist too. They just didn't like their piece of the cut. That's why they were mad at their man. That's why they want equal rights with their man. Black women didn't want no equal rights with black men because we were all slaves. We didn't have no power over y'all. So who was you trying to get free from? It's a game of chess, y'all. Fake videos like what came out this morning is a chess move to stir you up, trigger your emotions, make you believe that you got more power than you do. I'm going to be real with you. If y'all haven't figured this out, most demonstrations and protests are not advertised like they are a show. But have you realized that there's some real interesting flyers coming out? Almost like it's a concert. Riot tomorrow at 3. Be there. Early seating for those who want to break a window. Shit like that. Have to make you wonder, is George Soros behind this? Who's funding Black Lives Matter? Somebody said Antifa. You know, let me speak on this real quick. When I was in Washington, D.C. Last year, and if y'all don't remember, see, again, receipts. I went to D.C. with a mob of people so that we could confront the KKK when they were doing the KKK rally. If y'all remember, there was a video that was played on MSNBC, CNN of us fighting with the Capitol Police. And we were trying to storm the White House. That's how I know that this video is a bunch of bullshit. And if you all remember the video, they raised the barricades and they brought up every form of law enforcement they had. And they had to take them boys out the other side. Well, most people remember there's a video of me coming down 14th Street with this mob that was screaming, USA, fall USA, death to the USA, and fuck the police and all of this. And if you look at the video, you say, well, those are white people. Those were Antifa people. Let me tell you what you should think about before you jump on the bandwagon that when the white man tells you that somebody is a terrorist, it means they're terrorizing them. They're trying to crack it off. But I'm going to tell you what you need to stop and think. They are the children of the very white people that are doing shit to you, who know that what their parents are doing is bullshit and that they sick of the bullshit too, and they want to set it off. They're trying to give you all a little push. And, well, they got blamed, and now they're considered a terrorist group because Uncle Trump didn't play that shit. So he called them a terrorist group. But the point I'm making is so funny because now the white folks got blamed for some shit that they was trying to get blamed on us. Ain't that something? Grand rising to you if you're just joining us. But by putting out videos that says, oh, they don't storm the White House, by putting out videos to get you amped up, by putting out false information to make you think that you're doing more than what you're doing, by spray painting buildings that we didn't do, by turning over cars and setting fires that we didn't do. I see the word right there, Edomite, over and over again. But I'm not going to teach right now. But if you all don't know what an Edomite is, you need to go and research it. You should have nothing to do with them. You're not supposed to be hanging out with them. You're not supposed to be sleeping with them. You're not supposed to be mixing your tribal blood with them. Oh, Israel. Oh, Israel. And if you had to sit here and wonder who I'm talking to when I say Israelites, then I'm not talking about the bruh standing on the corners with the Bible trying to teach to you. I'm not talking about the ones that look to try to get you to worship correctly and point you. I'm talking about all of you all who are descendants of the 12 tribes that have been scattered around the earth that got this particular shade on you. You are an Israelite. I'm not talking about that little country they created in 1940 something and calling themselves Israel. I'm not talking about those people running around calling themselves the Jews. Can I teach? I'm talking to the descendants, okay, who actually came out of the 12 tribes. You are Israelites. And some people try to say, well, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. No, we don't separate here. Yes, some people may be more enlightened, and I congratulate you on you, but you cannot take away from your brethren and your sisters who have not become enlightened yet. You cannot take away from your peoples that it is your job to bring them out of the darkness rather than talk down upon them or condemn them. He didn't enlighten you for you to sit there and debate with each other about who's the more enlightened. He enlightened you because that's what a light does. If you're in the dark and you turn on a flashlight, you use it to find your way out. You don't turn around and get in a fight with the next person with a flashlight talking about my light is brighter than yours. My batteries are stronger than yours. You holding your light wrong. Nope. Can I bring them out, y'all? Can I bring them out? So the point is, you're an Israelite. So y'all stop running around playing tag the donkey. Don't do that because you are. And remember, for all of you all who are enlightened, at one time, you too didn't know what you know today. And that's our problem. When some of us come into a little bit of knowledge, all of a sudden we're holier than everybody around us. You know, back when I was in the Christian church, there was a saying that they had. You have become so heavenly that you're no earthly good to any of us. You know, those people that they think they shit don't stink. They ain't never did nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. Like they just fell out the womb, dipped in the blood. Yeah, okay. If the truth be told, like they say, let he without sin cast the first stone. So before you start trying to talk about what somebody did in their past, before you start trying to drag up something because you're a coward and you don't want to do it, and you start saying, well, I remember when she did this. Well, I remember me. Well, I remember when. Just remember, that shit goes both ways. For every time you point your finger at somebody, there's 3 fingers pointing at you. One of the things about me is I have no problem telling you all the shit I did. Because I'm telling you, I ain't got nothing to hide, but I've evolved. Some of y'all have not. So just remember, before you start beating somebody up because you came into a little bit of knowledge, Just remember at one time, you was dumb as fuck too, okay? You weren't enlightened. And then there are those who think that, oh, well, you know, my peoples was enlightened, so I'm enlightened because of my peoples. No, everyone's walk is individually on their own. Last but not least, if I decided to stop talking to you, if I no longer came on social media, if I just disappeared, then we would leave a hole. Here's why. Black folks, you don't have your own news agencies right now. Black community, you don't have anyone that specifically works on behalf of the black community to report the news to you completely unfiltered and raw. When Bob Johnson sold BET to Viacom years ago, he sold the only institution that we had at the time so that we could get some news without it being filtered through the white folks. Mainstream media is nothing but Western news. A big grand rising to all of you. Came on just to let you know about a fake video, but had to take care of a few things. So now we're going to get it. We're going over to the shooting range and we will broadcast live from there. So I want to show you all what we mean when we say a tight shot group. So if you've been learning from my videos, I encourage you to tune in. It'll be sometime later on today. It's going to be a lot of fun to shoot up some shit and to show you just how lethal and accurate we are. I do my best to try to hide the identities of the people who are in the NFAC. I see a lot of y'all flying the logo, but by now y'all all know that everybody who's flying that logo is not a member, but they do support, and there's nothing wrong with that. But those people who are the actual boots on the ground, you see me. That's what I mean about news source. I am the PAO, as we say. I'm the public affairs office. I am the spokesperson. But everyone else, that's not their job. That's my job. So I'm going to keep coming before you to talk to you because we want you to know what's going on. I was doing that before any of this happened. One last thing. To the liars, to the people who are straight out lying, we see you. To the people who are so wrapped up in their emotions that they can't see reason, I hope you get help. Because pride always goes before the fall. Always. So that's why we're neither proud nor vain. And just remember, this whole thing started. This whole episode did not start with George Floyd. It started with Ahmaud Arbery. That's where it started, coming out of the quarantine. You see, we can say the quarantine was a reset. Nobody should be bringing anything that happened before the quarantine forward because the world stopped. Everything stopped. Won't nobody out here doing nothing. And can't nobody say they was out here doing nothing. Everybody was in the house. We came out to some fresh shit. And that fresh shit was Ahmaud Arbery. So start at the beginning. And stop practicing attention deficit and see how we started this. And look how they pushed y'all right back into doing what you did before the quarantine. We're after the quarantine and we're in an all new normal. So why are y'all trying to act like things are normal? That's my morning mental. I hope y'all have a great day. Next time y'all see me, we're going to be strapped up shorty. Busting them rounds downrange. Y'all be sure to join me. Remember, we shadow banned, so you may not get an alert. So you better tell your friends when we go on. In the meantime, stay black, stay safe. Watch your back, watch your front. Look out for your friends. Protect the queen and move like you move because none of us moves the same. Peace and love and light. Shalom.